the FIFA World Cup on Brazil. Gentlemen, today we have Rivaldo, the sports minister of Brazil, and Adriano, Brazil's opposition leader. Bom dia, São Paulo. And today we have a special report covering the effects of the FIFA World Cup on Brazil. Joining us today, we have Rivaldo, the sports minister of Brazil, and Adriano, Brazil's opposition leader. Gentlemen, welcome.
Obrigado. Thank you for inviting us.
Right. So, it is well known that Brazil spent roughly $14 billion on the World Cup Games, which took place this past summer. Gentlemen, would you please comment as to if you think this money was wisely spent?
Yes, Christina, it was certainly wisely spent. For example, out of the 14 billion that were invested in Brazil, you have to consider 25% went into stadiums and 50% went into infrastructure and building airports, highways, and similar. This boosts our economy, bringing more business into our country and supporting our sustainable economic growth.
I see.
But it was only spent on the cities which host the events. What about the rest of the country? Additional to this, we are on a governmental saving plan, which means less spending on a healthcare system and education. But I don't know how our government ended up spending $14 billion on a World Cup. All this together led to that massive demonstration of 1 million people. And today, 61% of these Brazilian people think that the World Cup was a horrible idea in this situation.
That information is not true, and it is invented equally to all information you've been giving to media this year.
Oh, so
I
goodbye
see.
now.
So, Adriano, could you speak to us about the reasons we saw the demonstrations earlier this year in Brazil?
Yeah, the healthcare system in this country is a mess. Income disparity and crime rate is on rise. Illiteracy is not addressed, but it's all that government seems to care about is overspending on the World Cup. For instance, you know, the money that we spent on a World Cup is equal to 61% of the Brazil educational budget, but nobody in this government care about the basic necessities.
Rivaldo, your comments.
Well, Christina, of course it's unfortunate that we had the demonstrations, but in a country with such an impactful social inequality, we have to consider that this is relatively expected. For example, in previous hosts like South Africa had same issues, while developed countries that hosted the World Cup like Germany or Japan and Korea had no issues.
But Rivaldo, could you tell me this? How could these stadiums help the development of these countries, which doesn't have any other purposes after all?
FIFA gives you the opportunity to host the most important event in the world. You have to invest in some things that they require to. But, I mean, you are complaining actually about stadiums, and I'm sure that Brazilians love our football stadiums.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you for that. We are now going to go view to see how the public thinks about this. Thank you.
Yeah, we are now in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and we're going to speak to a local couple about their opinion of the World Cup. Hey Ben, could I ask you a question? Do you believe that the World Cup improved the life of the average person?
Yes, of course. I live in a small town in Amazonas, and thanks to World Cup, highways constructed to Chaba, so now I can get there much quicker.
Come on. Where is the job? My cousin worked for the highways. They said they'll give a permanent job. They didn't even pay him. Come on, where is the job? Go away.
Alright. As we can tell, there are various opinions about the effect of the World Cup in Brazil. And now, back to São Paulo.
Proud of having such educated Brazilian girls, and I'm sure she can do much better than this boyfriend.
I'm sure she can. Well, welcome back everyone. And now for our second question. Gentlemen, could you please comment on the labor market? How has the World Cup affected unemployment in Brazil?
Well, of course the World Cup has addressed this issue. We have created 1 million jobs net, and the unemployment rate fell down for 1.5% since 2012. I think these facts clearly answer your question.
Thank you. I see.
This is one big fat lie that government keep feeding society with. Only, let me tell you the truth, only 70% of those numbers are real. And this is not the worst issue. The worst picture coming when you find out about a slave-like working condition and poor payments, and government should answer for those crimes.
We should report it to the official authorities.
You are the official authority.
Adriano, could you comment on the working conditions during the World Cup?
As street traders is one of the poorest section of our society. But instead of government helping them, government ends up washing them from the face of the street and took away one of the few advantage of these events for them.
Rivaldo, what is your opinion?
Oh,
Well, FIFA standards are strict on having only
FIFA! Mafia!
What's going
FIFA!
on?
Mafia!
Security. Security. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
So these standards are strict on having only authorized sellers around
FIFA!
the...
Mafia! FIFA! Mafia!
You see, you're like these people actually. You just want to make trouble and bring an anarchy into our country.
This is the voice of the nation.
Of which nation? The nation that has voted Vilma. Of course,
anymore.
yeah. Back to Christina's answer. The fans were spending money in Brazil in local businesses such as restaurants, shops, and individual traders' goods on the streets. So
All
we
right.
had this benefit.
Thank you, gentlemen. Adriano and Rivaldo. Our final question. In your opinion, did the World Cup help Brazil's economy to grow? Please comment on GDP.
Honestly, we can't see any positive effect on GDP. Instead, GDP keeps falling since 2010, and for the first time in the second quarter of 2014, it was negative again since 2009. Job market is horrible, no improvement, and overall, the cons of this event in this situation are far more than its pros.
Well, that's your typical negative approach to our Brazilian economy. But as I have said before, short-term economic benefits is that tourists were spending money in Brazil. Long-term, we have built infrastructure which is boosting our economy, and moreover, we are hosting the second world's most important event, the Rio de Janeiro 2016 Olympic Games, and we have already built the infrastructure for that and waiting ready for it.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. We are now out of time. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, the benefit of the World Cup was that infrastructure was built. However, those benefits were not distributed equally. Next, Cass Business School has risen through the ranks, a London-based business school. Up next.